Welcome to me, Zelp, reading your maybe technical, maybe rude, maybe heartwarming, and maybe non-related comments in the last few videos. Also, FYI, I'm very bad with names, so sorry in advance if I mispronounce your name on purpose. Let's look at the comments from a video I've made about 4 days ago on Fortnite where I shared my truth of why the game is so good. This is probably the most disliked to like ratio I've ever gotten on a video. Maybe I can shamelessly tip the skills a bit. The first comment came from YouTuber and friend Zandy Pants. He makes good, consistent videos on Warframe and he is well up to date. So if you guys are a fan of Warframe, you can definitely go check him out. He says, I appreciate this perspective a lot. While I do think that the lack of building in other Battle Royale games is actually one of the primary source of their complicity and definitely not a simplifying factor, it makes sense that Fortnite's building mechanics are a game all on their own. The point about building sorts of reducing the reliance of quick aim particularly struck me as something I hadn't thought about before. I'm not 100% sure what he meant by the lack of building is a primary source of their complicity, but I think he is trying to say that by having less mechanics to play with, most FPS games forces you to be more refined on the things you have to do. Take the game curling, for example. The objective is simple and the things that you need to do is limiting, but it is because of that it makes your need to be more superior in your dexterity and technique, bringing that to a whole new level. So complicity is created towards those focus. Likewise, because you can work your way around being inaccurate in, let's say, Warframe, makes it less crucial. And so people don't have to challenge the complicity of accurate aiming in that game. I agree with your point if that is what you meant, but one of my point in the video is that in Fortnite you do not have to put that much weight on just aiming. Now I understand that there are lots of other factors like strategy, positioning, etc. But in the traditional FPS games you can't escape the fact that having good aim is a very huge factor in those games. Fortnite just allows you to outplay people in more ways. For example, people with aimbot in traditional FPS games is godly, but aimbotters in Fortnite can still get their ass kicked. So if you are a potato like me, at least in Fortnite you can be an untouchable potato and help push or distract enemies while your teammates pick them off from a distance because you are good at, let's say, building and manipulating the situation. He also said that because of Fortnite's building, it is of its own game, which I agree, so it might not be fair for me to compare the two games. He mentioned that quick aim is less a thing in Fortnite because of the buildings. I think he meant quick aim down sight, and it is true that in Fortnite most of the times you get to pull off a quick aim is when the enemy is at a distance that did not notice you with no cover, because getting close in Fortnite is a thing, and once you get too close it's more effective to go for the shotgun flick shots. However, there are many cases when people are applying pressure to you and breaking your build where you can sneak a quick scope. Love those epic moments. Next we have Chenla that says the ping system is a good example. Other companies trying to find an edge with things Fortnite do not have, like the ping system, so people have a reason to play their game. But Fortnite outright stole the ping feature, and because it's a leading Battle Royale game for a while, people came back to it. It is the same with Twitch and Mixer. When Mixer introduced something unique to their site, Twitch steals it in a matter of weeks. Both Fortnite and Apex are a nice game, but I do not like when these game giants literally steal someone else's idea to keep being on top. So I understand where you're coming from, stealing is bad, but I also understand where the developers are coming from. We have to get with the times and keep trying to improve. For example, a few decades ago, everyone was using those cathode ray tube TVs. Then LED TVs came out that has good quality, more energy efficient and saves space. If the leading brands of TV manufacturers do not want to make the change, they wouldn't be here today. So yes, stealing is bad, but unless you can somehow patent that idea, there's really nothing much could be done. But if you think in the player's perspective, it is actually better for us. The more developers compete, the better the quality of the game we will be receiving. Take TMNet for example, Malaysia's leading internet provider. I say leading because they basically monopolize that market. Even other internet providers like Digi or Maxis gets their internet deals from TMNet, as it is also controlled by the government. So even when you are using another internet provider going like, ha, I shall not support TMNet for supplying bad internet. They are actually still paying them through someone else. So the point here is that because our local internet provider does not have any competition, they do not need to make improvements. In fact, Malaysia had one of the most expensive internet to data ratio in Asia. Until recently, where the new old Prime Minister forced them to make a change, and now it is 10 times better. Get it? The new old Prime Minister? You'll get it if you're Malaysian. Moving on. Alfonso J. Ramos said, I did try Fortnite a while ago. I did play solo for a while. I did try the creative mode they had. It was hard to learn. Zelp, your videos did help to some degree. However, having somebody to teach me in the game was much better. Anyways, I started playing with some people and I was getting mocked for having quick deaths. Okay, I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but he mentioned how playing with his friends didn't really help, as some of them were a bit toxic and didn't want to play with him just because he is still learning. I get it and I don't blame you. Learning a game like Fortnite on your own is really hard. I wouldn't have made it this far if it wasn't for a tutorial that I found on YouTube.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're doing an educational commentary. During this commentary, I'm going to be focusing on building techniques to try to help you guys get better at the game. Just overall have a better understanding of what's going on and how you can use building to your advantage, whether you have the high ground or low ground. How to protect yourself, how to build aggressively, how to build defensively.
Which is why I'm willing to help if you catch me in game. I can bring you to where I train and get you up to speed. Now, of course, I can't help everyone if there is a lot of you, but I'm willing to at least try to assist as much as I can. The thing I do like to point out is that communities can be toxic, but the game is usually neutral, and sometimes you just have to keep looking, maybe even form your own community of friends that is willing to learn and grow together. In my personal experience, the in-game community is not as toxic as some games, like Dota. Most of the people in Fortnite understands if you are new and you can't do these things. It is a new genre almost to be building and shooting, so it's one thing to be pointing at a baby and go like, oh, this baby is so stupid, I can't even teach him to poop in his diapers. And it's another thing to go like, this baby is so stupid, he can't even drive a car and run a country. The thing is, the game is hard enough to the point where if you are new and you suck and there is someone that couldn't get it, it's obviously that he's the one with the problems. But what's interesting is that the game is also skill based, that technically a pro player could carry the team way better than a traditional FPS game. So that's something to think about. I used to get subscribers on my other channel by carrying players. I would go on duels and see if I can find a newbie teammate. I will say something along the lines of, hey, if I win this for you, would you subscribe to my channel? Look, I was desperate back then and I maybe still am. The next video I've posted about 2 days ago is on a game called Slime Rancher, and Ming says, personally, I think that this video has the best flow control so far. Maybe include some other aspects of the game next time, such as music, maybe recommendation targets, i.e. if you like this game, you might like this a lot. As such, colors, value to learn. Keep it going, nice. First of all, thank you for the compliment on the flow control. I generally do not know what I'm doing when I make my videos, so it really means a lot to me that I got the flow right by coincidence. The part where you mentioned about including aspects of the game like music, I'm not sure if you meant point out how good the music in the game is, or do you mean like by having some background music in my video? I'm pretty traumatized for having bad background music and sometimes just mess up the volume to the point where people can't hear what I say. It was after publishing when I realized and regret, and I will be regretting for the rest of my life. So I was thinking maybe depending on the video, I may lay back on the background music for now. And as for the other stuff in your comments, it is noted and I'll keep trying to do better. Thank you for the motivation, Ming. Philippe Flores said, interesting, you make hardcore videos with advanced math skills for exactly that type of audience. Will you ever go back to that, or is this your new trend? It's not bad, but not what you are known for. So yes, I could get pretty mathsy and technical sometimes. That's because back with Warframe, where I want to be the very best, it was easier since they do not change the mechanic that often, and instead of saying this gun or ability feels like it's the most damaging, there are often ways to prove them with maths. Ultimately, I think I will eventually get nerdy again once I find something worth nerding about. My fear is that the next game that I really like happen to be too straightforward. You know, like some games just have very simple mechanics where there is no need to even prove anything. We'll see. I might find something fun to nerd about soon. Thank you for sharing your concern. Flip. Now I know I said poop a lot in the last video. It was intentional at first, but then it just felt easier to understand, so I end up saying it throughout the video. Lastly, I want to thank those that gave compliments to the video, even if it's just a hey great video or noise. I truly appreciate it. The liveliness of the comment section is currently what drives me to keep me going, even though we are kind of losing subs. So as always, drop a like, maybe subscribe if you haven't, and see what happens. Have a pleasant day. Bye bye.